Hi boys and girls, if you were following the MilesTracker part of the build, this is the Android Macrodroid part of the build, so you're going to need the Macrodroid app. So I would grab that and let's jump into it. So this is the Macrodroid app. Hopefully you have the same version and nothing's changed. So let's just, we'll start right here with variables. Okay, so you're going to want to click into your variables and we're going to create a variable and we're going to name this one active trip, all one word, capitalize the A and the T, and we are going to turn this into a string. Hit OK. And now we have the active trip. We're going to add another one. We're going to add start miles, capital S, capital M, and we'll make this an integer. You could make it a decimal if you wanted to keep track of the point miles afterwards, but I'm just going to make this one with just the integers. Hit OK, so now we have the start miles. Let's create another one called end miles, integer, and then we're going to create a trip total, and integer. Okay, so once you have these four variables, these are global variables, so we'll be able to use them between both the start trip and the end trip. So we'll go back, and now it's time for step 2 to get a start trip macro going. So we can name it start trip. And let's add our first trigger with our only trigger for this one, but it would be the plus sign. So go to the plus sign, and then you're going to go down to user input. Once you're in user input, you're going to want the widget button, and we'll make this green since it's start. Okay. Then that's all we're going to do with triggers. Now we're going to move to the actions. So we are going to add an action. The first action we're going to add is an if. So we're going to go down to conditions, loops, and then if clause. Once we're in the if clause, we see conditions. We're going to hit add condition. We're going to go to Macrodroid specific. And then we're going to go to Macrodroid variable. And then this is, we want active trip. Hit OK. And then when we want active trip is not equal to no. All capital. We'll just make it no. And then hit OK. And then hit OK. So now we have an if statement. Active trip equals no. We'll create this later to where it's yes or no, and it'll tell Macrodroid whether you're on your start trip or your end trip. So now that we have the first if statement, we're going to add another action. This one we're going to go to Macrodroid specific and selection dialog. Right here, selection dialog. Okay. Now, up top, dialog message, we'll just put active miles, and then over here, we're going to grab a global variable, and this will be start miles. And then OK. Okay, and then when we're on this screen, save selected value in string variable. We're going to want that to be active trip. This is fine the way it is. Now we need to add items. So the first item, we're going to, item 0, we're going to call this keep trip. Capital K, capital T, one space. It's got to be spelled correctly. And then the next one for item 1, we're going to call this overwrite. And then OK. These little up down arrows is how we can reorder it. So we're going to want to put this inside that if statement, just like that. Okay, now we are going to add another if statement. So same way, go down to go down to conditions and loops, if clause. Okay, we're going to go to add condition, Macrodroid specific, and then we are going to go back down to Macrodroid variable. And at this point, we want to grab active trip again. This time equals, and we are going to write keep trip. So if it's equal to keep trip in the value. Okay. And okay. All right, now we have another if statement, and we want to get this if. We'll move it up into the other one like that. Okay. Now we want to add another action, and this action is going to be in macros and cancel macro action, and then you're going to pick this macro. Okay, and we're going to move that up in that side that if statement. All right, now we want to add another action, and this is going to be a variable. Come down to variables. We want to go to set variables and start miles. Hit OK, and then user prompt. Hit OK. I'm just going to title this start miles and uncheck display existing value right here. We want that unchecked. If you leave that checked, it's going to leave an annoying 0 that you have to backspace every single time you go to put your miles, and you don't want that. So just uncheck that box and OK. Then we want to add another action. We're going to do another variable. It's going to be a set variable. And this one we want active trip. OK. And here under enter value, we want to just type yes, all capital letters. Yes. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add one more action. I like to have a little notification pop up. Notification, pop-up message. And we'll put trip started, exclamation point. It's exciting. And start miles saved. And okay, and that'll just give us a little message that we started our trip. And that is going to be enough for the start trip. So the start trip, if your start trip looks like this, you should be good. So we'll go back. Do you wish to save changes? Yes, save. Okay, and now we're going to add a macro. We're going to add another macro. Add macro. We'll do the trigger. This is where we'll go back to user input and widget button. And this one will make red since we're doing the end trip, which, oh, we can name it too. End trip. Okay, there we go. So we'll start this one by adding an action. This one will be, we're going to start it with a variable. So go to variables, set variable, and we want n miles. Okay. And this will be on user prompt. Okay. And then we'll just call this one n miles. Same thing, display existing value, uncheck that. Okay. Now we have our set variable for our n miles. We're going to add another action. This will be another variables, set variables, and this will be the active trip. Okay, and this we're going to set it to no, all caps. All right, now that one's done. So now we're going to want to get our HTTP request. So let's add the action. And we're going to scroll down to web interactions, and there's HTTP request. This is where you're going to enter your Google form code. So let's go over here real quick. Okay, Google Forms. This is where you're going to go to these three dots for more. Pre-fill form. And then just fill this out with dummy stuff. I always like to use 100 and 200 because it's easy to find when we get into our the HTTP request. So then get link and then copy link. Okay. Now we're going to want to go back to the HTTP request, and we're going to fill in all that information. We need to make a few important changes, 4 important changes. So the first one is, let's go find form request. I'm sorry, view form. We are going to change view form right here with the question mark after it to form request. So get rid of view. Form, I'm sorry, not request, response. Form response. Just like that. Form response. Then I like to do this step next. We'll come back to our getting our variables in there. There goes the 100 and there's the 200 at the end. So you can see them both right here. But at the very end, here we want to put the and symbol and then write submit equals submit, the second submit with a capital S. So it should look like that. Okay, so let's start with our 100. Our 100 is right here. So we want to delete the 100, but leave your cursor there. Come to your 3 dots and then go to your global variables. Okay. Start miles. Okay. And it should look like that when it puts it in correctly. Then we'll go to the 200. Delete the 200, but leave your cursor right there. Go back to global variables. Okay. N miles. Okay. Then just come up here to the check mark because you did the 4 things. The view form, you turned it into form response, and we added the submit equals submit, and then we did the 100 to the start miles, the 200 to the end miles. Hit the check mark. Now the HTTP request is complete. So now we can, let's go ahead and we're going to set another variable. So come down to variables, set variable. We're going to go to trip total, hit OK, and then you're going to come down to expression. In expression, we're going to enter a value. We're going to come to the three dots, and we're going to go to global variable, hit OK, and then we want our end miles. OK. Now that we have our end miles, we could put a subtraction sign, a minus, all together, and then back to our three dots, global variable, and start miles, and then OK. Now let's just add one more pop-up message. So we'll come here, go to notifications, pop-up message, and here I'm just going to put you drove, and then space, come to the three dots, global variable, OK, we're going to go to trip total, OK, space, miles, I guess that could be lowercase, miles, exclamation point. So we'll hit OK. And I do believe we got everything, and that completes the entire build. Save your changes. And so you should come in here, you got your two macros set up. And here you have your variables all set up. So the next thing to do would be to go onto your like main page, do a long hold, and that should bring you to the widgets, and then add a widget, and then look for the Macrodroid, add your green, and then come back, add another widget, and add the red. And now you have a green and red right next to each other, and everything should be looking good. I'll put it to the test and make sure this one works, but that should be everything. So safe travels. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you open up your Google Sheets and go test it out and make sure it's working. Mine worked fine. I put the widgets on there and I put it to the test, and everything looked like it was working great. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy.